escuchándote. En cuanto presentes,
Okay.
iniciamos.
Ok. Quiere decirme antes que salga al aire. Por favor, que en la India salimos al aire haciendo tipo el back. Ok. ¿Me decís vos o te digo yo? 4, 3.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Ok.
Ya estamos al aire.
So welcome everybody once again to another international panel here with all that you are listening to us and watching us. Thank you so much for your time. We are having now our guest speaker for the third international panel this day. It's gonna be directly from Iraq. We are having Mr. Peshang Hamakarim here, that he's gonna give a great presentation about Iraq crisis, environmental crisis, before the pandemia and during this pandemia. So for you that do not know Mr. Peshang, I will introduce to him. He was born in Iraq, actually living in Poland, has a PhD in environmental science from the University of Warsaw, Poland. Also specializes in environmental engineering and master in civil engineering. Published the first scientific article as main author at the journal with the title of Quantification of Methane Emission for Tanjaro dumping site in Sulamaniyah, Iraq, and implementing compatible methane abatement strategies for the city. Mr. Peshang, you have to explain that to everybody. He gave a report to Gazeta Wyborcza, which is the most well-known newspaper in Poland regarding my achievement as climate activist. He is also participating in the first ever UN Youth Climate Summit at United Nations, headquarters in New York, for the USA, and gave a speech about environmental situation in Kurdistan. Co-founder of Jean Dosti Eco-Friends NGO for environmental research and climate action in Kurdistan, Iraq, and participated in a 3-month course of Water Europe 2019 regarding hydroinformatics for water resources and water-related hazard management in Europe in Nice, France. He's also a youth ambassador at Synchronistroy NGA based in Munich. So after this, thank you so much for being here. We are so expectant for your presentation. So please, Mr. Peshang, all yours.
Thank you so much, Kerry. It's such an honor for me to participate in your very wide international conference and panel, Platinum. And I am honored to represent my organization, Jinga Dosti, and my country, and on behalf of all the climate activists around the world. Thank you so much, Kari, for the nice introduction. And I have a presentation for the audience and for you to get to know better the situation, the environmental situations in the Middle East, and especially in Iraq. So I'm going to briefly talk about it for around 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and then we can have any questions which you want to ask about the region, and I will be happy to answer all your questions.
Yes.
And now I'm going to share the screen with you. Just please confirm that, can you see my slides? Can you see my slides, Katie? Katie, can you see my slides?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Okay.
It's okay.
First of all, I am going to talk to you about the geographical location of Middle East. As you know that this is the map of the world, roughly, and Middle East is in the center of the world, and it's a point between Asia, Africa, and Europe. We have around 16 countries in the Middle East. Most of them are Arabic countries, but we also have Turkey and Iran, which are two ethnic nations also living in the Middle East. We have also Israel, which is also living in an area of the Middle East. And specifically talking, Iraq is in the center of the Middle East, and My current base, which I grow up and live, is North Iraq, called Kurdistan region. Is a separate federal region which have its own government and flag nations. We are Kurds. Kurds have a different ethnic which came from the Europeans and have different language of speaking, have their own history, and they're a separate nation but live in the Middle East. Some of them are, after Lausanne Agreement, they were separated into 4 parts. Some of them live in Turkey, some of them live in Syria, some of them live in Iraq, and some of them live in Iran. And we are on the northern Iraq. The population of Middle East is roughly around 445 million people live in this region. So it's a quite huge number, which is larger than the United States population. And in Iraq, we have roughly around 40 million people live in Iraq. In Kurdistan, which is the northern Iraq, around roughly 6.5 million people live in that region. The capital of Kurdistan is Erbil. Kurdistan is a mountain area, so we have a very high amount of the touristic areas, and the weather is very suitable for living. It's cooler than the other Arab countries, so that's why it's a place of many tourists in the region. Roughly speaking, the subsections of the environment, you all know that it's land, water, and air. So if we talk about water, and water is in the surface runoff, in the underground water, the problems regarding the waters roughly in the Middle East is having a clear fresh water. Most of the cities or the province have this problem, which I am explaining to you. This as just an example. We have Dukan Lake, which is a normal natural lake, and it provides fresh water to Suleimania city, which is my own city. But while the water is provided to the city, we have sewage runoffs. And unfortunately, those sewage runoffs are directly combined with the fresh water. And so we have wastewater treatment plants, but sometimes the plant is not enough, and this is the water that you get, fresh water at your home. So this is a very huge problem, fresh water. Another thing, the farmers, unfortunately, some of them are irrigating vegetables with wastewater. This is in all region. In Iraq, especially, this is very common. The government is forbidding this, but they still use it. Because there's no monitoring systems in the region, water monitoring systems in the regions, and some of them, as you see, this machine is trying to extract fine and coarse aggregates for the construction from the river. We changed the bed of the river, the natural hydrological situation of the river. It pollutes the river, and sometimes people die because when they swim, there are roughly places which are 9 meter, 10 meter deep, and they just simply die because of those problems. We have a very huge political problem with Iran and Turkey as Iraq, because they are building dams, and they change the direction of the water to not come to Iraq to provide fresh water. So this will be a very, very big, serious threat on Iraq and Kurdistan. Another thing that I want to say is the lack of the environmental awareness. So getting fresh water is not easy, but people still are wasting their water. So as you see that those ladies are trying to wash the street. So normally this is lack of awareness, and they should be educated. When we go to the atmosphere, in atmosphere, we have air quality, air forcing, ozone layers, UV, solar radiations, and emissions. So regarding the air qualities, most of the air qualities of the cities in the Middle East are not clean, because they have a huge amount of the automobile vehicles. Roughly speaking, each city had more than 1 million cars, and which they operate daily inside a city. This makes the city more, warmer, and also it provides an emission. Another thing is the generators. Speaking about Iraq, there are local generators in each district. They provide electricity for the district. And this causes a huge air quality problem for the city centers. When we speak about the Arabic countries and Middle East, we should keep in mind that they are the land of oil. So oil refineries are everywhere. And this causes a huge problem of oil spills. And also speaking about air quality, the air quality of that region. And it's a disaster of the populations which are residents near those oil refineries. And we don't have any air quality measurements like air measurement systems. And this is a huge problem for the region because you don't know how you are contaminated. You know that you are contaminated, you know that there's a problem, but you don't know how much. So this is a big problem in all regions. And this is one of my visualizations of the NO2, nitrogen dioxide pollution gas over Iraq. This is just one picture. In the next slide, I am going to show you all the GIFs from the 2019 and 2020. This is just a comparison between 2019 April and 2020 April, which basically this year we had coronavirus, and unfortunately it killed most of pupils, including people near to us, our friends, our family. So my condolences to all people who lost their life during this pandemic. But as you can see that we had lockdown in April in Iraq, and as you can see that the comparison is very, very obvious. In April 2019, you know, the red areas are the emissions from the cars, from the industries, from the oil refineries. And in 2020, so the amount is decreased much, very much. So this was a positive side of the pandemic. This is a GIF about each 15 days, starting from the January till August, I think. And if we can see that during the pandemic, because it became better, but after the pandemic, which we're speaking about May and June, so things to get more and more. So the companies try to just cover the losses that they made during the pandemic. So they try to work harder and they pollute more the environment. So we said that the coronavirus had a positive impact over the environment, but it looks like it's not as positive as we thought about it. And there are companies are working very hard on it to just gain the losses that they made during the pandemic, which is a bad thing for environment, of course. Another thing, burning dumping sites. We have dumping sites, which I'm going to talk about it. Burning dumping sites is also a huge problem. My first scientific publication was about the methane emissions from the dumping site. The dumping site are burned during to the high amount of the methane inside them. And our dumping site, we don't have, unfortunately, till now, any sanitary landfills, scientific landfills. We have dumping sites, so we just dump the waste to it, and it causes a huge amount of air quality problems. The farmers are just in their lands after the harvesting. They think that if they burn, so they can get a much more productive land, which is totally wrong. Another thing is the forest burns. Each year, thousands of hectares, millions of hectares are burning. And when we come to the land, this is the thing that I talk about. In the dumping site, this is 2 dumping sites in 2 cities of Kurdistan, Iraq. So people are just dumping their waste there, and there are scavengers on it. We have a huge health problem with them. Also, so when the waste becomes like that, so the birds eat them, and the birds come too near the houses, and then another pandemic will occur to us, because this is how the pandemic started. Sorry for the picture. The medical waste is also not burned, not incinerated in a proper way, but it is just combined with the other waste, which is a huge problem. Speaking about the Arab countries and the Gulf countries, they all have oil spill problem issue. The picture which you see a child in the picture, this is a picture of Mosul in northern Iraq, and the oil spilled to the city, inside the city. Normally the refinery is outside the city. Plastics now everywhere we have plastics, and there's no good proposals for collecting those plastics which are manufactured by the companies. And this is a huge problem, because the plastics can last for around 450 years in soil, and it cannot be degraded. So this is a huge problem, and the amount of the plastic increases each year in the Middle East. Waste segregation and recycling basically is not done, because there are not good qualified recycling companies. So this is another factor that we have a huge amount of the dumpings and waste. The ethics, which I talk about, the ethics of having a good education, environmental education, is very important. This is the pictures of the bazaar, this is the markets. The people are just simply selling their products, and they leave the street, the bazaar, the market like that. So they don't have any ethics or education to collect their waste, and not to leave it like that for the government to collect. The quality of the transportation and collecting of this is very, very, very low. This is a very big problem in the major cities. Electricity. The electricity of those regions, either they don't have a full 24 hours per day electricity, or the electricity is manufactured with fossil fuels, and which is very harmful for the environment. Still, we don't have any reliable, good investments in electricity, in renewable energies for the region. But there are hopes. And this is one hope which I am talking about. In Uyayna, Saudi Arabia, in 2018, the Saudi planned to grow renewable capacity from 500 megawatt to 60 gigawatts by 2030. So this is a good thing that the Arab countries start to make investment in renewable energies. Another thing is vanishing expired materials. The materials which are not going above standard, or they are low standards, and they don't have a good quality, they are vanished. But they are just simply dumped into the dumping site or burned, which just making nonsense. The green area percentage is 13%, and this number is not confirmed yet, because in all the Middle East, when you search on Google or anywhere, you cannot find a specific data about the green area percentage in Middle East. And basically, I can tell you without any doubt that the green area percentage is very lower than the standard of the world. And we have a low green area standard, but still we cut trees. Still we cut the trees, the amount of the green areas that we have. And illegal hunting is also another problem. We are just vanishing the organisms and the insect or the organisms that live inside a habitat. So we just vanish their habitat also. And we as researchers, we have a huge problem in getting data. We cannot get the data that we want, because we don't have any open access data for the researchers. And if the researchers don't have open data accesses, so they cannot make researches and improve the quality of the environment of the regions. So this is the main problem of the region. So now I'm coming to the effect of the climate change over the Middle East. So as you know that the climate change affects almost every year, every corner of this universe. And starting from the floods and the typhoons in the Bahamas till the drought in the Africa. So this is Khanaqin, a district in Kurdistan, a small town in Kurdistan. So the heat wave in 2018 killed 3 children in Kurdistan. So the heat wave killed them. This is Hatay, Turkey. The road has melted. The road has melted due to the high amount of the temperature. This is August 2020 in Baghdad. So the temperature reached 53 Celsius, plus 126 degrees Fahrenheit. And the government announced a holiday in whole region. So this is Lebanon, recorded the all-time high temperature record, which is 45.4 Celsius in July 2020. So this is the city of Kuwait, record 52.2 degrees Celsius. We all know that during the night times the temperature decreases, but in Oman we have the record of the hottest overnight temperature ever recorded, which is 42 degrees for around 51 hours. So it's very, very high. And this is about the heat wave. We also have flooding problems. So this pictures, as you see, that the flood just vanished, destroyed around 100 vehicles and 300 houses in Duhok this year, the March 2020. This is a picture of Lake Urmia in Iran from 84 to 2016. As you see that the lake completely get drought.
Incredible, yeah. I mean, wow.
1 minute. Okay. This is Turkey. Turkey, in the last 60 years, Turkey lost 70 lakes and the lakes become totally drought. So the things that I showed you before, in Turkey, we have 70 times the same picture. So the situation in Iran and Turkey are like that. So they try to solve for themselves. They build dams, but at the same time, they cut the water to go to Iraq. And so the situation of getting fresh waters to Kurdistan in Iraq becomes harder and harder each year. The earth is uninhabitable zones. Now we have uninhabitable zones, the things that you see it in black. So the amount is not very good, very big. But the scientists say that in 2017, the amount of the uninhabitable zones, so it means that no one can live there, the amount increases. Unfortunately, there are some Latin America countries. We have equators in Africa and we have in Middle East also, almost all India. So this is a picture of a thirsty camel which wants to drink water.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yes, and it drinks plastic also in plastic bottle. But this means that they become thirsty because the heat wave increases.
Right.
This is a farmer in Syria. He's saying that I have lost 400 acres of wheat and now it's all desert in 2010. So these are very important data that from 2006 to 2010, around 60% of the Syria's land turned into desert. So this is the time before the Syrian revolution and before the Syrian war. So, so the war, and this drove 1.5 million people from the rural areas to the urban areas. This is from the WikiLeaks, saying that the Syrian Minister of Agriculture stated publicly that economic and social fallout from the drought was beyond our capacity as a country to deal with. So this is from the US Embassy in Damascus. So this leads, this is in 2008. So from 2006 to 2010, the climate change affected the fertile lands of Syria and become all desert. So the people get uprised against the government, and the Syrian war started. So the Syrian war starts because there wasn't food. There wasn't food because of the climate change. So people died simply because of the climate change. So this is the major groundwater aquifers losing water. So the groundwater aquifers, if there is no water, so you cannot get any waters from the fresh waters from the wells. So we can see that most of the Saudi Arabia and Egypt in the Middle East, we have Russia, we have India, Australia, and the coast of the United States also. Pope Francis has stated that the gravest effect of an attack on the environment are suffered by the poorest. And in the Middle East, we have the level of poor is around 40% or 30%. So it's a high amount. I agree with you. All the Lamborghinis in Dubai, in Emirates, I agree with you that. But on the other hand, there are many poor pupils who don't have their shelters, homes to live in, who don't have any food, and they suffer from the drought and lack of water. So they suffer. And more than 40% of the population of the world is suffering from not getting a good water scarcity. And lack of having water will bring people to not wash their hands, and this makes a high risk for the contracting COVID-19 and other pandemic diseases. Cholera likes warm weather. So when the earth becomes warmer, so it gets more and more. And we have this specific situations in the Middle East. So the cholera will be, the doctors are saying that the cholera will increase the amount in the Middle East. Those are things, but this is hope. I'm talking to you about hope. We have problems, but we have hope also. This is our Jingadosti environmental group. In just 1 year, some pupils, youth, are able to achieve many good things. We built the first bicycle lines in the whole country. There wasn't any bicycle lines in Iraq. We built by ourselves, by our budget, the first public bicycle lines in the first picture. We planted many trees and oaks. This year we have a plan. We are planning to plant more than 1 million trees, and we are now trying to achieve it. We use every event. This is the book affairs, international book affairs. So we went there, we booked a stand, and we give our environmental awarenesses and things. We go to every school, give seminars to the new generations, and educate them about how to get used to the environment, how to not harm the environment, what is climate change, what's affecting it, how can I, as the youth, try to stop it. We make competitions. Now the green things, that the left green picture in the near Greta, you can see that this is a competition, the greenest house in whole Kurdistan. Now we make a competition, so we dedicate the greenest house, and we give a plaque and the award to the winner. Last year we did the first. This year we are making the second. So by this we just give people a competition to build their greener houses. We participate in international conferences. This is last year I participated in the youth conference in the United States UN headquarters. I met Greta Thunberg there. And another thing, that we educate new generations. So new generation are growing in the manner of, I should plant tree, I should not use plastic, so I should just fight for the climate. As I say, seminars, we last year we gave seminars to more than 15,000 people. And we use social platforms because everyone is on social media. So we use social platforms very much. We have a group which have 84,000 members in the Facebook, and anything that we publish there becomes a problem of the government. So we see a problem in the street, we just publish the picture in the social media, and tomorrow the government solves it. So we have a huge potential amount of social media. We have our own webpage. So those are hopes, and there are many environmental groups like us, organizations which are working, and people now understand that whether we will have a good future or we don't, there's nothing to be called a future. So this is our only planet, and I am the guardian of this planet, so I have to try to be the guardian and protect the earth, and this is our duty. This is my end of the presentation, so thank you so much for your attention. I hope that it wasn't boring. I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. No, it's not boring. It's amazing and devastating at the same time. So I will ask you a question that you know already, and I would like you to answer me, like, what about Iraq before the pandemic and during this pandemic? Is there any change?
Yes, it's a very good question. There's a picture I can share it with you, and
Okay.
We can just discuss better if I. Okay.
Like from the Earth, right? From the Middle East Earth?
Actually, I don't have that picture from the Earth. Just it's simply dedicated for Iraq.
Okay.
Sorry for that, but normally this is the situation in all Earth.
Okay.
This is a projection of. You can see that we have other pictures from the Italy, from the Wuhan, China. This is for Iraq. Just I wanted to make. This is the difference between April 2019 and April 2020. As you see that the companies are started to just shut down. That's why we don't have any huge air quality problems. But the problem is that, Kerry, this is very important, that now it becomes worse than before the pandemic, because the company now tries very hard to just cover the losses that they made. So actually nothing happens to the environment. So this is my idea. Now I'm writing an article, a scientific article about it. So is the Earth getting good or bad during the pandemic according to the environmental point of view? If you take that, so just for 1 month it was good, but after that the companies were very, very harsh on the environment, so it becomes more and worse. So there's no, and we have a huge amount of the waste, mask waste, glove waste. So those are also problems which we didn't have before the pandemic. So I can say that the coronavirus also wasn't good for the environment.
Right. Can I see the picture again, please?
Okay.
So just so I can understand it better, like April 2019, okay, it's before the pandemic when the humans were out.
Yes.
And April 2020, it's when the humans are in lockdown.
Yes, exactly. And simply they didn't use automobile vehicles to go, and they were at home. The factories were not working. Do you know what this picture means? This picture means that the air quality of the cities are clean.
Okay.
So the picture which have red dots and red circles means that the air quality of the city is very bad. So and to give you an information, each year 9 million people dies because of the air pollution.
Oh my God.
Till now the coronavirus killed 1 million, not 1 million. And everyone is speaking about coronavirus. But each year 9 million people dies because of the bad air quality, and no one is doing anything about it.
And inclusive, like the coronavirus is like an effect of this air pollution that we have everywhere, right?
Exactly.
It's incredible that without humans, like the Earth is like this, and with us in the world, in the Earth, it's gonna be like April 2019. I mean, this photo, it's amazing. It's incredible. And speaking about that, what does your organization do for this?
You know, as I told you that, as I told you that this happens because people are in my country just using vehicles. They go for 2-minute walk, 3-minute walk, they use vehicle, their cars. So we try to tell them that use bicycle, it's good for your health, it's good for the environment, try to have less carbon footprint for yourself. So, but we cannot convince anyone because there is no any bicycle lines. So we built the first public bicycle line in all Iraq by our own budget. We went to the government, they told us this cannot be done. We took the paintings and we get permission and we draw a bicycle line around a big park, and we built the first public bicycle. We now have a program which is called Culturalizing the Bicycle in Kurdistan. So we just make people to get culturalized with the bicycle, and there are more than 100 people participate in our events when we make a event with bicycle around the city. So by these things, our organization is trying to just reduce the amount of the air quality pollutions. And
right.
also we give seminars, we give proposals to the authorities. Katie, we are in a good communication with the government, with the parliament, and we gave them proposals, and simply sometimes they try to listen to us. So this is a good thing. And some of them are encouraging us because they say that you are youth and you are really working for the environment. So I try to help you as much as possible. And they just help us, support us, which is very good. But it's not enough, because we have to make the pictures of the April 2020 a good, clean air for everyone, because we lost people every day. So I don't want to lose my people, which I love, because of a bad air quality, which I make it. So I try to just make like that. We encourage them to do good things.
What about the environmental policies in Iraq? I mean, what about the government, and what about US? Is United States helping in some way Iraq? I mean, in 2014, I know that President Obama was working with the government of Iraq to fight ISIS and to fight another things for environmental crisis also. I don't know what Trump governance doing right now of the United States is like involucrated in that. And another question, just to resume that and sum that, is like, does Iraq have any European allies at the same time to fight this environmental crisis from the United States to Europe? Like,
oh, Katie, when you talk about environment, believe me, you cannot say that the Trump administration is supporting you, because this is an administration which simply don't support any environmental issues. So I don't know, they're against the environment. So I don't understand that. But there were some funds which given by the American embassies, but now I don't hear anything from them. There are, and in my UN speech, I told the Deputy Secretary of the United Nations that the developed countries should help the non-developing countries, because they suffer the most. As Pope Francis said, that the poor suffer the most. So, and the government my government is ready for any investments in the renewable energy, any, but they cannot do by themselves. There should be an ally, a European ally, an US ally, a big developed company comes make investment. But no one is doing any investment on those regions. Simply no one cares about those regions. Everyone just cares about himself. They forget that we are on the same ship. So if some part is getting lost, do you know why the refugees are so much in Europe and in Canada? Because they come, most of them are, there's now a new term called the climate refugees. So in those regions, the climate becomes uninhabitable. The amount of the graph that I showed you, that it will increase in 2070. So simply the people in this region try to migrate to other regions. So the amount of the people will increase in that regions. So you will have many more problems. So come try to help your siblings. Try helping them by investing in the renewable energies, by making them just, US is a huge major role player in the world. So they can just simply come say that you have oil, you have to use 20% of the oil to renewable energies. That's it. Believe me, they will do it. And say that I will send you this company, just give them 20% of the oil, and they will make for you a renewable energy investment in the region. They will do it, but no. And Trump administration, I don't have any hope in it, and I'm not an American, but I hope that the Trump administration ends in this election, and because we as a climate activist, we need Paris Agreement, and simply Trump is not supporting Paris Agreement. So I definitely don't like him to be president of the United States. This is a political point of view, but I'm looking at it as an environmentalist, not as a racist or a supporter, Biden supporter or anything like that. As an environmental point of view, I see Trump as the enemy of the climate. So I hope that he will not succeed in the election.
Okay, and what about the government policies in Iraq? Like, I'm sorry, Israel is helping, that we have like a new peace treatment. Israel is helping, like, what about that? United Emirates is helping, or you are like in the Middle East, like all of us, all individuals trying to save the environment, and we are not one?
Yes, there's an Arabic Union, Arabic unions, countries. They just make meetings each year and nothing happens. They are not collaborating with each other. Everything is individual in Middle East, and simply because of the wars, continuous wars. Believe me, Grace, we were discussing with one of my friends, saying that the people who born in 1980s till now, every 5 years they see a war. Every 5 years they see a war, a continuous war, and war brings a devastation, a complete demolition of a place. And if there is war, so you don't have any growing, any developing in that region. So simply, if there is war, no one thinks about the environment, because people die there. Human dies, so simply they don't think about environment, air pollution, climate change. And the problem of Iraq was like that. Unfortunately, from 2013 till 2018, we have ISIS problem. 5 years ISIS problem. We fought against ISIS. We lost around 10,000 Peshmerga forces there against ISIS. And people died there, people suffered, cities destroyed completely. So you cannot discuss about environmental issue when you have this problem. Now in Kurdistan, there are many good ideas, but after the ISIS, after the war, the second problem is economic problem. So the economic problem also started in that region. So you cannot speak about any investments in good energies, in renewable energies, any investment in good things. So the government is simply saying that I will help you in anything which doesn't cost me anything. So, and there is nothing can be done if there are no actual investments in renewable energies. You cannot do. But the situation in Saudi Arabia, in United Emirates, in Dubai is a little bit better. The situation is better because there are peace much more than the Iraq and Syria. The situation in Turkey is good. Iran is not good because of the blockades from the United States. So this is also a problem for them. And they suffer very much the heat waves and the drought there. But simply the policies of the government is the mirror of the actual situation in their country, but still it's not good policy.
And what about the climate migration?
We have climate migration now. Now we suffer climate migrations. The people in Iraq, especially from the center of Iraq, are migrating to North Iraq. Now, let me tell you about our newest program as our environmental. There, in Kurdistan, there are around 1 million refugees. 1 million.
Wow, that's
we are only 6.5 million population, a very, very small amount of land, just 3 cities, and we have around 1 million. So around 7% of the population is refugee. You can just think about it like that. We have around 17 refugee camps, and the refugees are living there since 2013, since the ISIS came. So they have also some problems, the climate, refugees, migrations, and they now stabilized in the camps. But inside the camps, there are no trees, nothing. So our newest project is planting trees inside the refugee camps. So in the 1st of November, we will plant around 3,000 trees in one refugee camp.
That's awesome. That's incredible. That's an amazing project.
And the trees are planted by the people inside the refugee camp. So they try to plant trees, and by planting trees, you get the emotion that there is hope for the future. So it will be good for them psychologically and environmentally. So this is our new project, and we try to just accomplish this project in all the refugee camps. So we have refugees, we have...
How many refugee camps do you have right now?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Do you know how many refugee camps do you have right now? I mean, during this pandemic crisis, I think it's bigger than before, right?
Our refugees mostly came because of the climate migrations and because of ISIS. And we have around 17 refugee camps and 1 million people, refugees. Some of them live in the refugee camps, some of them live inside the cities. So they have good income, so they stay in their own house, but they are refugees.
Okay, and what about women leadership in Iraq?
This is quite problematic in the Arabic region. So rarely you see a woman leader which leads a movement, authority. But in the Kurdistan region, which I am basically on, so the culture is much more better in getting these issues, because in our region, we have around 11 religions who live in the same place.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes,
really?
We have Muslims, the majority there. We have Christians, we have Yazidis, we have Ashuri, many religions, and we have a congress that have all the religions there, and they collect. So, and they live in peace. So in our region, there's a good sample of living in peace, all the religions together, all the different cultures together. And because of this idea, people in that religion are much more, have wider perspectives regarding the women's. And we have now our president of the parliament is a woman.
Wow.
Yes, and we have some ministers in our cabinet. Ministry of Agriculture is a woman. He came to Poland on January, and we met with him, and we discussed having a new plan for making standards for the farmers. So she is a woman. She's a very brave woman, and the the president of the parliament is also a woman. We have many woman parliaments, which we are now communicating with them. So women are having a good role in our community, but still in the Arabic countries, this is an issue. You know that till 2018, I think 19, till last year, women couldn't able to drive car in Saudi Arabia, which was simply is insane. That they thought that they cannot drive cars. So this is a problem of the Arabic countries, and we are also Muslims, and we just practice our religion in our country, but we have a good perspective regarding the women, and we see them as equal to the men. But this is the understanding of a religion, that they don't let women to be in a good role player in life. But I think when the life goes, people start to think more and more, and they will get the good idea about it.
So in the refugee camps that you were talking about, you have like the children, you have families, or you have like separate families, like children with their mother and men to another side of the refugee camps, or you have like, I don't know, like a lot of people there, like in sectors, like how are you going to do that for the trees to be planted? And are you willing to have like educating from environmental crisis there for the children?
Yes, very good question, Carrie. Inside refugee camps, mostly they are families, and the people inside the refugee camp, they are just having their building. They plant their own tree, and they just water it. And we plan in the future to give seminars, environmental seminars, once a month in each refugee camp for them, to just educate them for the environmental awarenesses.
Okay, that's incredible. So part of your organization is going to plant trees and is going to educate these children in the refugee camps, right?
Yes, exactly. Because they also deserve to have a good life. They also deserve to have hope. And we should, when we talk about environment, Carrie, my point is that we are not just speaking to the wealthy people. We are speaking to everyone, from the poorest to the wealthiest, from the non-developing country to the most developed countries. So this is a problem. The developed countries are not just don't care about poor countries. So, but as environmentalists, I should care about everyone, from the refugee camps to the wealthiest people. So they all should get a good knowledge about environment.
Okay, thank you so much. It was amazing, this little talk that we have. I think the public have it like wonderful like me. So Mr. Prashant, thank you so much. We're going to invite you again. I like a lot of things to ask you. So thank you so much for this. And thank you everybody for watching us again. And I am welcoming you for the other international panel that we have with the United States, just like in 15 minutes. So see you in a bit. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good day or night. Bye.